Well, that was a juicy one. So much for the intro sequence with the road. Okay, so right now it is 100 degrees. The heat index is 112, and I am traveling through Overland Park, Kansas, and decided to stop at the Johnson County History Museum just to try and cool off a little bit. Read quite a bit about this place online. Seems like it is a pretty cool structure from the outside. So we're going to go in and see what we can learn. Alright, so first impressions, wow. Looks like they definitely invested a lot into this museum. Kind of anxious to see what's inside. Okay, so it looks like there's 4 themes for this museum, being land, policy, regionalism, and people. And my goodness, this is probably the most impressive county museum I've ever seen in my life. And it looks like you start right over here and just kind of start progressing through the history of the county starting in 1825.
So you have to find pictures in the museums, and then you unscramble different words. That like gives you clues, and then you unscramble different words, and then at the end it all makes a sentence or a word.
Interesting.
With the first letters.
So this first part is really looking at clash between the Native American cultures and the culture of the white settlers. Here you can see a depiction of the famous painting by John Gast for Manifest Destiny, the belief that it was God's will that Americans move west. And apparently Johnson County was named after this guy, Thomas Johnson, who was a Methodist missionary. Interesting. Hey, here's a map showing Kansas Territory and Indian Territory and the Santa Fe Trail, which we were just at the other day, right about in here somewhere. So now we're moving into a section that focuses on the railroad and how it impacted this area and the West. So here's kind of an interesting piece that I've never seen before. This is a chemical cart that was used to fight fires. Huh. Very interesting. And you can see up here where it was used. Of course, horse-drawn. Interesting. So like many other places in the Midwest and the West, the railroad really affected the economy. It allowed farmers to ship their products back to the East and bring in pieces of mechanization like this. This is a corn sheller. So mechanization really changed the face of farming in the late 1800s, and this is one example of that. Okay, what in the heck is this thing? Oh! It's a cannonball safe. So it's like a little bank vault or a bank safe. That thing is weird. Huh. It says here that this safe was purchased in 1908 and weighs 4,500 pounds. So that would be difficult to hitch up to a horse and steal. Wow, never have seen one of those before. Here is a cream separator. All kinds of interesting stuff in this museum. Okay, so being a farmer was a risky business. So we're going to plant a seed and see how it turns out. All right, go ahead. And, okay, well that's disappointing. And one is a bountiful season, and the other one, we had a good season, but the railroads took most of our profits. Oh, snowstorm. Okay, so I'm going to plant my seed, and see, I'm going to put it over here, I think, and we're going to see how it does. And, oh, drought. The drought is killing us. The infestation. Those locusts.
My turn.
So we're moving into the 1850s here, and of course, Kansas was at the heart of a lot of controversy during the 1850s in a sectional crisis. Congress had decided to allow the territories to decide whether they would be free or slave states, or free or slave territories. So there were pro-slavery and anti-slavery elements from all over the country that flooded into Kansas and ended up getting a little bit violent. And if you've ever heard of the Kansas Jayhawks, well, they get their name from these roving bands of men who fought for free state causes. So you typically think about these suburbs being something out of the 1950s, but here in Johnson County, it was quite a bit earlier than that. Kind of in the early 1900s, they developed this area for people in Kansas City to escape overcrowding and pollution and stuff like that. Kind of some interesting local history. Yeah, so this is kind of interesting. I guess there was a place here called the Sunflower Army Ammunition Plant that made a rocket propellant during World War II and after. And this is a few things from the Sunflower Army Ammunition Plant. It's kind of neat, something you don't see a whole lot of. So far, I have to say that I'm really quite impressed with this place. Probably one of the best county museums, well, not one of the best, it is the best county museum I've ever seen. A lot of stuff for kids. I've noticed that there's a lot of kids here at this museum today, and they're all having a good time. You can see mine there somewhere back in here. Yeah, they're there. Oh, they're there. And of course they like history anyway, but I don't know, a lot of cool stuff here. This really should be a model for people looking to build regional museums, because the kids are loving it. Okay, so now I think we're moving into the 1950s, going to look at suburban life in the 50s after World War II. Is there anything that screams 1950s more than a big old neon motel sign? That thing is cool. The Whitehaven Motor Lodge. Nice. Okay, so this is the House of Tomorrow, which was built in 1954. And I think this is the original that has been reconstructed inside the museum, designed to show what a house that is completely outfitted with electricity would have looked like. And I guess thousands of people came and toured this in Kansas City during the 1950s. So we're going to go inside and take a look and see what the House of Tomorrow looks like. Alright. Go into the kitchen first, and oh my gosh, look at these colors. Huh. Interesting. Okay. We got to see if they have anything in the refrigerator. Oh, they do. Kind of. Okay, let me see if there's anything in the freezer. Oh, look, there's even some Armor veal cutlets in the freezer. Ah, and some lemon macaroon ice cream. Oh my gosh, that sounds awful. Alright, we've also got ourselves a typical 1950s living room. And it says that this painting right here, you could push a button and it would slide back to reveal a TV. Got a little projector here. Wow. Hey, it's Bert the Turtle playing on the 1950s and 60s television. Pretty iconic Cold War information piece. I can almost guarantee that there are a lot of kids under the age of 18 who would struggle to figure out how to work this thing right here. Alright, going back into some closet space. Yeah, I really like that they have like some of these original products. You know, even seeing like the Q-tips from the 1950s and kind of what the advertising looked like. And looks like we got a kid's room back here, or a baby room. And there were a lot of babies during the 1950s. Wow. Oh, check out the crazy colors in this bathroom. Oh my word. It says here that designers of the 1950s used bright and cheerful color palettes to reflect the consumer's optimistic outlook. Ming green and Regency blue are these colors. Here's a bedroom. Notice 2 beds instead of 1. During the 1950s, it seemed kind of indecent to portray couples sleeping in 1 bed. So if you watch like I Love Lucy or Ozzie and Harriet or any of those shows from the 50s, they always have 2 beds in the bedroom. I think the first TV show to show a couple sleeping in the same bed was The Munsters, if I'm not mistaken. Sweet. It's an old soapbox derby car. That's cool. So I wonder how many people go through this museum and don't see that. Okay, so of everything that we've seen in the museum, the 1950s House of Tomorrow, definitely my favorite. That was pretty cool. I'm usually drawn to things in history that have to do with, war and conflict and chaos. But it's good to see some of these lifestyle periods and learn from that as well. This is a very cool museum. It's a county museum, so you're kind of learning about things on a micro scale, and it teaches you more about history on a macro scale. Very, very cool museum. Probably the best county museum I've ever been in. This is in Johnson County in Overland Park. And like I said, very, very cool museum. I think it cost us about $5 to get in, and it was worth every penny. Learned a lot today. So you typically think of the suburbs as something that originated in the 1950s, but here in Johnson County, don't worry about me, I'm not filming here or anything.